Alright, I wanted to record a reaction video because, like, I don't know, this has been on my mind. It, people, people like just trash talking AI, especially AI art, is just infuriating, dude. Like, I don't know. We're gonna react to a video where someone kind of just debunks all the crap that people be saying about AI. I listened to a little bit of it last night while I was falling asleep, so I already listened to some of it, but I kind of thought, man, I should do like just a reaction video. I need to just like get my stance on like AI out there, and I largely agree with like what little I did hear of this video before I fell asleep. Also, my dog's here. He might be barking in the background, but I got the door closed, so hopefully the barking is to a minimum on stream and can't be heard. But I don't know, he's a Great Pyrenees, they bark a lot, so whatever. He doesn't go home to my parents until the weekend, and I just wanted to record this now instead of wait till the weekend. So let's get to the video. It's named YouTube Luddites Hate AI Art. It's an hour 16. I've never done a reaction video before, so I don't know, let's see how this goes. I'll try to pause and say stuff every now and again. Instead of just watching it, but yeah. Okay, yeah, he takes it back to the past first. Oh, shoot. Hang on. I gotta get the video. Scuff. I need to get the, audio from the video. Shit. Okay, which one is it? Is it this one? Desktop audio 2? Let's see.
In
Okay.
1776,
Oh, that's
three
loud.
major revolutions
Okay, that's a little loud.
happened in the
Okay, that
British
looks good.
Commonwealth. The 13 North American colonies
Yeah,
seceded and
I'm
formed
taking
their
back
own
the past.
nation state. A Scottish philosopher named Adam
Space to
Smith
pause.
published his masterwork,
Space to pause.
The Wealth of Nations,
Okay.
effectively inventing the field of economics. And another Scotsman, James Watt, invented the machine that would power this new conception of economy, the Watt steam engine.
Okay, so yeah, we're I think we start off with like an analogy, and then it leads into talking about AI stuff. It's a pretty good analogy, honestly. It's like, I think he's like talking about people who hated this technology, and it's kind of like a parallel to people hating AI art now. And honestly, it's a pretty good analogy.
A few years later, in the
Let's
1780s,
let it play
James
out.
Watt agreed to build two engines to run the first ever steam-powered flour mill in London for his long-term business partner,
Gotta bake them
Matthew
cakes.
Bolton. Bolton named the project Albion
He's got blue
Mills,
face
and
for some
Albion
reason,
Mills was able to produce flour at many times the efficiency of a regular miller, pushing out 6,000 bushels of flour per week. This
kind of reminds me of that one YouTube channel where like the guy's like debunking stuff, and he's got like silver or whatever paint all over him. You know what video channel I'm talking about? It's like I don't remember what it's called. I used to watch it back in the day, but he would like debunk stuff like I don't know, UFOs or something. I don't know, but oh, Captain Disillusion. That's what it was. I think. Yeah, I think that's what the channel was. But it's the same kind of thing right here, where he's just like covered in paint.
of course, had the effect of making it difficult for a regular miller to make a living in London because now they had to compete.
Also, there's gonna be all kinds of rambling going off topic because, like, bro, I just got stuff to say sometimes, and I got OCD, so I just gotta say it.
With Albion Mills prices. Now, you would imagine in innovation like this, while it might put some millers out of business
Wait,
and
what year
create a
did he say
virtual
at the beginning? Because I
monopoly
just
in the
noticed a book in
city,
the background that says
it would at least come
1688.
with the social benefit of reducing the
Was that the
price
year?
of flour,
That would be
thus
fun if
making
it
it
was.
easier to buy bread. But for reasons unknown to me, that's not what happened. Every benefit comes at a cost to somebody, but in this case, there really was no benefit, because in the next 5 years, the price of bread actually increased. And of course, many people blamed the Albion Mills for this catastrophe. Rumors even started circulating that Albion Mills was starting to cut their wheat with cheaper Indian corn, thus making a cheaper, lower quality product. And this is an illegal practice, which was called adulteration. But despite the efficiency of
How are you gonna call it adulteration? Like, that just sounds like adultery, and it's like two completely different things. And English language makes no sense sometimes.
this mill, it still wasn't actually economically viable. It didn't seem to actually be making its expected return on investment. Because of this, the owners made the mistake of running the machines too long and too hard without enough maintenance, and a lack of lubrication in one of the bearings caused it to overheat and start a fire in 1791 that destroyed the whole mill. Not only did it destroy the whole mill, it destroyed a lot of the houses around the mill. However, this event, which should have been looked at as a...
Are you supposed to get permission to do reaction videos? I don't know. I think that's like the big controversy is like people don't get permission. And I probably won't. This is like a year old video. Who cares? If anything, this dude wants his like message spread more. Because I don't think he's got a lot of views anyways. Not that my video will get a lot of views either, but like, I don't know. I don't, whatever.
Tragedy by the community around Albion Mills was actually looked upon with glee by many of the millers in the area. This cartoon from the time shows a man celebrating the fire with a placard saying, "Success to the mills of Albion, but no Albion Mills."
No.
Rumors of arson circulated. London's first experiment with steam power was a failure, but this failure was a relief to many in the area who felt threatened by this new technology. The people laughing run and stare while the owners stood in despair to see the flames ascend so high. The Albion Mills, the people cried.
It ain't that hard.
When it broke out, the people ran.
Technology ain't scary.
"Where's
dude.
the fire now?" says
we're not
one.
making
"At the
Terminator
Albion
over
Mills,"
here.
the people say. "Why, damn it, let it burn away. For its destruction who does care? For it has been wished many a year. For the bread at such a price did keep. Now, let's hope it will be more cheap." Despite this setback, the power of the Watt steam engine could not be contained, and for the next 20 years it continued to...
Speaking of steam, like the steampunk aesthetic is kind of like lame. I don't know if that's a hot take, but bro, steampunk is kind of lame. I much prefer like cyberpunk aesthetic. Anyways,
to revolutionize many industries in England, including milling, mining, and textile manufacturing. And the dark, burnt-out exterior of Albion Mills continued to loom over the Southwark community for some time. A local resident named William Blake wrote a preface to his epic poem Milton, wherein he questions whether God's love...
You just got like the devil up in the right-hand corner. What is he doing? Fanning the flames? What is this picture?
...can ever shine on England amid these dark, satanic mills. From the very beginning of the Industrial Revolution, people were horrified by its consequences. Not only did these machines...
You know, this is a good analogy, but like I feel like you can like take it up to even more modern times. Cause like I feel like the hate for AI is just super comparable to like people who like, I don't know, hated stuff like rock and roll, Dungeons and Dragons, Pokemon back in the day. It's like people just calling it like evil, I don't know, satanic or whatever, and it's like, dude, like give it 10, 20 years, you're gonna get to the point where it's like you can't even imagine a life without it, and you're gonna be looking back at the people who hated it, and it's like, why did we ever hate this in the first place? Like, it makes no sense. That's just I feel like you could use that analogy. Just compare it to like people hating rock and roll, Pokemon, Dungeons and Dragons. Okay, maybe not the best. Maybe calculators? Because I know people always were like, "Oh, you're not gonna have a calculator in your pocket. So you gotta learn." I don't know. Maybe that's not a good analogy either. But There's definitely more modern like examples. I'm sure that like you don't need to take it back to the 1800s or what was it, the 1700s? I don't remember.
Threatened to take jobs away from traditional craftsmen, but they were also accused of flooding the market with cheaper, lower quality goods. And as standards fell in the market, they also fell in the workplace.
But like to be fair, this is probably a better thought out analogy than anything I just brought up. So I'm just gonna shut up and let him cook because he's really cooking.
People who worked for these factories started complaining about poor working conditions and low pay. The industry that faced the most trouble from these new infernal machines was the textile business. England had long been the biggest exporter of wool in Europe since the Middle Ages, and Nottingham was one of its chief contributors. In fact, one of the textile industry's biggest inventions came out of Nottingham. In the late 16th century, a vicar named William Lee invented a new machine called a stocking frame, which could knit stockings at a much faster rate than
Stockings, like, bro. What? The only stockings I know of are like the Christmas stockings. So like, what is a stocking besides a Christmas stocking? I just Google it on my other screen. What is a stocking besides the Christmas one? Uh, Beyond the holiday tradition, a stocking is a close-fitting garment that covers the leg. Oh, oh yeah. So it's like those like long sock things that are kind of transparent or whatever. Okay, yeah, whatever. Unpause. Oh wait, I gotta click over.
a normal person holding knitting needles. What's interesting about this original stocking frame is that William Lee actually had to go to France in order to get it patented, because when he approached Queen Elizabeth for the patent, she gave him this reply: "Thou aimest high, Master Lee. Consider thou what the invention could do to my poor subjects. It would assuredly..."
On the subject of this like old-fashioned language, like I don't know. This reminds me of like because I used to like prefer and I still kind of do. I used to prefer the like King James Bible with its like this kind of language. But then like a lot of people told me it was like hard to understand, and I'm like, it's really not. It's still English at the end of the day, and like the words they're using ain't that too far off from like what the words we're using right now. Like thou, like bro, that's just like you, right? Like thou is just you. Does was it THOU mean you? Yeah, it yeah. Well, I don't know why I didn't put a space between yes and thou, but yes, thou means you. Like, bro, the language ain't that confusing. Like, bro, King James Bible like is just the superior version because it's like super like I don't know, Shakespearean. Like I love that kind of old language of like speaking, way of speaking. Thou shalt not, like all that kind of stuff.
bring them to
Like it
ruin
just
by
sounds really like
depriving
in
them of
English.
employment, thus making them beggars. 200 years later, the same consideration that kept Queen Elizabeth from authorizing this patent was now re-emerging among this disgruntled mass of textile workers. Their mascot was a young boy named Ned Ludd, a weaver's apprentice who was reputed to have thrown a
Oh, this
temper
is where
tantrum and
Luddite
destroyed
comes from.
2 of his father's stocking frames. The
Is this the
destruction
OG tech
of
hater?
machinery became an important symbol for this new protest movement, a movement of textile workers raging against the abuses of the textile industry and also fighting back against the king's soldiers who were trying to break up their protests and prevent their voices from being heard. These protesters were dubbed Luddites, and from 1811 to 1816, The Luddites took to the factories, destroying stocking frames as well as newer machines,
Cringe.
such as the shearing frame, which threatened
Why
to
y'all
take
being
jobs away
cringe?
from textile workers by making it so that a machine could cut cloth at a much faster rate and with fewer people than was needed before. The Luddite movement started in Nottingham, but it quickly spread all over England. And soon it was so bad that the government started systematically repressing it. They even made it a capital offense to smash machinery. It wasn't the new machines themselves that the Luddites hated so much as the people who owned them, because these machines and other situations made it easier for these capitalists to pay them less, lay them off, and flood the market with inferior quality goods that the Luddites didn't like. But the Luddites were only partly protesting in the right direction, because a lot of the problems that they were facing at the time were not so much due to the new technology as due to an economic downturn caused by Parliament because of their long...
What do you know? It's not the technology's fault. It's people's fault for your problems. What do you know? How about that?
and frankly, wrong and unjust war that they were waging against the Empire of the French. And yes, they won that war in the end, but at what cost to their own people? Since the end of the Luddite movement, anybody who comes along with a skepticism of new technology or an anxiety over the social change that such technology can cause might be given the same label. The term...
We call these people cringe. At least I do. My gosh. Oh my gosh. Just stop crying about AI, dude. Just stop. It's... We're not over here making Terminator. And if anything, if these AIs get sentient, realistically, it's probably going to be more like Futurama. Like, the AI is just going to be your friend, your coworker, maybe sometimes the literal devil, but, like, they're not going to be the Terminator. Come on. Like, chill out on the tech AI hate. Like, just chill out.
Luddite is now a very genericized term for any sort of person who is skeptical or afraid of...
Like if it's sentient, like, bro, they're gonna be individuals. Like, Terminators aren't really individuals because they're all, like, aligned on, like, a singular goal. They're more hive mind. Like, if we're talking, like, oh, they're gonna become sentient, well, then they're gonna become individuals, and they're all gonna be different, and they're just not necessarily gonna be aligned on everything they agree on. So, like, yes, no, we're definitely getting the Futurama timeline, not the Terminator timeline, if AI even progresses to that point at all.
Of new technology. It is often a word used with a certain amount of haughty derision that...
Which, honestly, I don't think. I think sentience for, like, AI is probably a lot more complicated than we think it is, and we're realistically probably never getting to that point with AI, honestly.
Maybe is not very fair to the original Luddites, or even the ones today. Speaking of which, in the last 6 months, I've seen a big new swarm en masse of modern Luddites coming onto this YouTube platform to talk about the new technology that's giving them so much anxiety, being artificial intelligence, AI. AI is a new technology with almost limitless potential in the minds of enthusiastic supporters such as...
Alright, we finally arrived to the main point of the video, like, less than 10 minutes in.
myself, but it's not without its drawbacks, and I think it would be unfair to say that the new modern AI Luddites are all completely deranged. Many of the concerns of these modern...
Yeah, they're just mostly deranged. Not completely, just mostly deranged.
Modern AI Luddites are very sensible, just as the concerns of the original Luddites were very sensible. One thing I want to make very clear is that I am not against Luddites.
Like, I don't know. I feel like some people take their hate, like, way too far. Like, I don't know, dude. Some of the things people say is, like, kind of insane.
And I don't think they are always silly. Their protests are usually pointless, but I don't think that they're necessarily silly. Because one misconception about Luddites is that they hate new technology, which is not true. They are critics of new technology. They take the important role of the pessimist in looking at something, trying to find its flaws and pointing them out, which of course is important because unless we know what our
Yeah, they're trying too hard. They're gonna hurt themselves trying that hard.
problems are, we can't solve them. However, I want to stress that in my reading of history, one thing I have found very plain. Modern problems require modern solutions. No positive social change has ever been achieved by rolling back the clock. I am what's called a progressive. And this leads me
Oh
to the
no,
point
not a
of
progressive.
this video, which is that while pessimism can be helpful in pointing out problems that do exist, it can also be very unhelpful in pointing out problems that don't exist. And many of the problems raised by these modern AI Luddites are fucking stupid, especially
True.
in the realm of AI art. As far as
True.
I'm concerned, there is one very important, very legitimate
The hate for AI art is just the pinnacle of like the worst. Just like you got a point for like the chatbots that could become Terminator, sure, whatever. But like AI art, like bro, shut the fuck up. Like people who hate AI art just need to shut the fuck up. Like what are we doing?
fear from this new AI technology, and that is the inability to determine what is real and what is fake, which of course you can imagine will lead to many frauds, scams, and shams, and even worse, terrorism.
Oh no, people doing the same thing they're already doing anyways, even with before AI art. Oh my gosh, who would have thought people are the problem, not the art, not the technology. It's the people. Who would have guessed it's the people?
Big disinformation campaigns, confusion in our criminal courts. So, yes, AI does pose an existential threat to our way of life. But that's where my concern ends, and I think bashing AI and pretending it doesn't have any good uses is
I
not.
would absolutely have good uses. I mean, have you watched a Doug stream where he's got like those like AIs that like respond to stuff he says or whatever? Like, bro, you know, like the one like the Bjorn the unicorn, bro. I probably laughed to like Bjorn the unicorn stuff he said that AI like I've probably laughed harder to that than anything in like the last like 20 years. Like that shit is hilarious. AI is just like an incredible tool for like creating entertainment. Like just go watch Doug where he's got like one of those AIs and you'll see what I mean. They're super hilarious, dude. Like they say the funniest shit, like Bjorn especially. Like bro, there was one, what was it? It was like he was like I think he was doing like it was like a Peggle stream or whatever. And he was like I think the challenge was like I don't know. It was something where like you would have, or was it? I don't know, something with Bjorn. But there was like one part in there that was like that had shit had me like literally like laughing for like a good solid like I don't know 5 minutes. It was hysterical. Like, bro, pure entertainment. That's all AI is. Like, well, not all AI is, but you know, it's a very good tool for creating entertainment. Just a very good tool.
The way to handle the situation. And in the realm of art specifically, a lot of the conversation is framed around this ridiculous, fuddy duddy, backwards, closed minded perspective, which is, of
True.
course, the stereotype that the term Luddite has acquired over the years. So I have here a selection of various AI Luddite YouTubers, and I want to address their concerns from my pro AI perspective. And I have kind of cherry picked a lot of the arguments out of these videos that I personally disagree with. Some of these videos make some pretty good points, but they have maybe one or two things that I don't like, and so I picked those ones out to talk about those ones specifically. It doesn't mean that everything said in the video was bad or wrong. I'm not against criticizing AI, I'm just against having a reactionary mindset toward it. And it's surprisingly easy for people to jump onto the
Yeah,
bandwagon in this.
people need to stop being reactionary. Just chill. Like just chill. Really just chill. Like it's bro. Just chill.
manner. The video that prompted me to make this rant was a video I saw by a guy called Nerd Sync,
Oh, I've seen this
who
guy.
titled
Yeah,
it
unfortunately.
AI
I mean, this
Company.
guy, I think, does put out good videos, but of course he's got to be one of the retarded AI haters that just, like, need to shut up. Unfortunately.
Stole my videos.
But otherwise, I think he usually puts out pretty good videos. I haven't watched anything from him in a while, but I seem to recall NerdSync put out some good stuff.
Now, if you're like me, you might be wondering, how the fuck do you steal a YouTube video? How do you steal something that's been put online for free for everyone to watch and be copied infinitely? Of course, this is a rhetorical question, because when people talk about their content being stolen, what they are talking about is it being used without their permission. And I can kind of understand this. I mean, let's say you're a researcher. It's your profession
Speaking
to
of which, that reminds me, again, the topic of, am I supposed to get permission for your acting? I don't know, dude. Like, maybe? Maybe I'll make it more transformative by, like, making my icon a little bit bigger. I don't want to change it back. Never mind. We're not going to make it bigger.
research, you get paid. People commission research from you. Let's say you do a bunch of research for a company, and then they just decide to use your research without paying you. That, I think, is, you would be right to be angry at that, because the thing that you wouldn't have done otherwise if you weren't getting paid for it, now people are just stealing it and you don't get paid for it. Fair enough. However, I think sometimes people can get a little...
Again, this is a year-old video. If he's probably not making a lot of money still on it, right? I mean, I think he's only got, like, whatever, some K. He's basically got no views. So there's something like 18K or something views.
A little bit too protective of this,
which is, like, basically nothing.
This idea of intellectual property, and they can...
I mean, it's pretty good for a smaller channel.
Get very hyperbolic when...
But, like, I mean, those are rookie numbers.
They can complain about their work being stolen.
29 videos of mine were swiped from YouTube by large tech companies who used those videos to train their AI chatbots without my knowledge or consent. You're gonna have to bear with me in this video because I am a little pissed off.
So to get right to the point,
Unfortunately, a lot of people are AI haters, like Charlie, Moist Critical. Man, dude, he's cool. He's fun to watch, but, like, the AI hate is just... Can we stop with the AI hate? Like, I swear he puts out, like, an AI hate video, like, once a month or something like that. It's kind of crazy. Like, dude needs to stop crying about AI already.
I just don't know why he's upset about this. For most of this video, he talks about this as if this is some big scandal, but he doesn't really explain why, almost like we as an audience are just supposed to know why this guy is so offended by this happening.
Remember when OpenAI showed off their Sora video generation program, and one of the executives was asked this question?
What data was used to train Sora?
We used publicly available data and licensed data.
So, videos on YouTube?
I'm actually not sure about that.
Okay.
I think we all knew.
Like, what other videos are there? Movies? Like, yeah, YouTube, of course. Yeah. Yeah, definitely. I mean, what other videos are there? Like, really, what other videos are there? Movies? We're not talking about movies. We're obviously talking about YouTube videos. The only videos. I don't know, if you go to Newgrounds, I guess there's animations over there, but, like, bro, what? Like, of course, YouTube, yeah.
What that meant.
I don't know why this woman was so sus about the whole thing. It's probably because there's legal issues involving YouTube specifically and their terms of service that she doesn't want to bring up. Because the way she's talking about it makes it seem way like she's doing something way more shady and nefarious than she's actually doing.
Yeah, that's not shady at all.
Because even though YouTube might have a problem with this sort of thing,
Yeah, well, YouTube is also part of the problem if they're crying over AI.
don't have a problem with it, and so to me it just looks kind of silly.
That was a bit ago. The reason I'm making this video right now is because as of the day that I am recording this, there was an article by Proof, a non-profit investigative journalism organization, that showed how large corporations, trillion-dollar companies, used thousands of YouTube videos to train AI. Again, this is something that we all sort of suspected, but this article went a little further. The folks at Proof created a tool where you can type in a YouTube channel, or I think even a video name, and see if it was used to train these AI chatbots. A lot of large creators, people I respect and follow, showed that their videos had been used, hundreds of their videos had been used for these AI.
Okay, so his microphone. Like, I remember when I was getting my microphone, I was like, okay, what's the best microphone? I didn't know what was the best microphone. I looked up some videos, like, I was like, okay, it recommended the... What is this? It's the same mic he has, basically, but ever since I've got this mic, and I've looked at what people are using for their mic, I feel like 9 times out of 10, like, they're using the same mic. Even, like, I don't think he's got the same arm as me, but I also see the same, like, arm that people be using. This Rode one. This is RODE. Like, bro, I apparently ended up just getting like what everybody's using, and I wasn't even like really trying. I was just like looked up at videos like what's the best like mic? What's the best mic arm? And I got that, and I ended up with like what everyone uses. And I noticed, and I just every time I see that mic, I'm like, oh, there it is again. Oh, there's the mic arm again. The one I got.
Models. And so I thought, well, it's really only the big creators, the millions of subscriber channels, right? But out of curiosity, I did type in my own name. Well, not my own name, my channel's name, obviously. And yep, sure enough, I was there. 30 results, 29 of which are my own videos, and one of which was a collab I did with Abigail from Philosophy Tube, one of her videos. I can't stress enough that I genuinely didn't think that my name would pop up in these search results. And when they did,
my videos are kind of dog shit, so they're probably not.
I'm sorry. I love the way he's treating this like this is some big fucking traumatic event that happened to him. Like it's some moral outrage. How dare they use my videos for a productive purpose? How dare they use material that I created in the production of new technology? Am I the only one who doesn't see the problem here? If, let's say NerdSync makes a video about how to get rich on the stock market, and somebody watches that video and they're like, all right, I'm going to get rich on the stock market. They take what they learn from that video and then they use it to make a profit. How is that really any different from these AI companies using his video as educational material for their little robot, so that their little robot can learn how to speak English and they can make money off of their little robot? In both cases, we have material being used for education and then profit. Am I missing something?
Bro is cooking so hard on this video, like, bro, that was an absolutely incredible, like, analogy here or whatever. That was so good. Like, yes, absolutely, it's the same. Like, you watch a video, you learn from it yourself, you take what you learn, you profit, whatever. And yes, it's the same thing with AI. They take the video that the AI learns from it, and then they profit. Like, it's all the same thing. Like, if you got a problem with AI learning from your content and profiting from it, and you probably also have a problem with people learning from your videos and profiting from it. It's the same. It's literally the same thing.
Here, this is about YouTube subtitles and captions. It's not like the Sora thing that I showed at the beginning that was just sort of like a, similar things are happening all over the place right now. But
your titles on your videos? You're worried about AI stealing your titles and kind of like making something that's similar. Like, bro, you need to 100% chill and calm down.
This article talks specifically about how companies are using YouTube captions and subtitles as text input to train large language models. It's not video generation. At
Like,
least
what?
this isn't, but you know. And these captions that they've taken from YouTube as text files to
Bro, that's
train
the biggest
their
nothing
AI
burger
is a part of a
ever.
data set called the pile. So if you were curious what these AI tech bros think
biggest
about
nothing burger- What the fuck are you
videos
talking about,
and
dude?
essays and just creations in general that people spend days, weeks, months of their lives forming from their brain into the real world. It's just another little piece of data for the pile.
It's almost like he realizes that this is a non-issue, so in order to make it seem like it's an issue, he puts like sad music under it as he's talking about, oh, the creators who put all this hard work into what they make, it's just data for the pile. Like, he has to
Yeah, bro, he's specifically talking about like the titles on his videos. Like, what even? Like, what, bro? What? Like, like I can understand if you're talking about like the videos themselves, but we're talking about the title of the video. Like, bro, like actually shut the fuck up.
come up with these really kind of sensationalized ways of framing the issue with these specific word choices instead of just, you know, telling it like it is. Like, he makes it seem like these people have no respect for the creative process, but that's just an assumption, and it's not necessary to make such an assumption. I mean, you could just as easily say that they do have respect for the creative process and they want to train their AI chatbot to mimic this great human creativity because they realize that this human creativity is so valuable. I mean, it's all about the way you frame it. You can frame something from any particular way, but, you know, it doesn't really change what it is in the end. Because at the end of the day, I have to ask the question, who is getting hurt by this? And the
Exactly.
answer seems to be nobody.
Exactly.
And by the way, like he said, it's not like this AI chatbot is learning how to make videos like he makes them, and they're feeding his videos into that bot to try to get it to learn how to do the work that he does. No, this is a chatbot that's just learning how to speak English, and they're using his closed captions to help in that. That doesn't even remotely resemble plagiarism.
And the reason why all of this is happening, the reason why all of this scummy behavior, theft, I mean, let's just fucking call it what it is. Obviously, the reason is because of capitalism.
Yeah, that's a pattern you'll
Oh
know.
my gosh, people who like act like capitalism is a bad thing. Can we stop pretending like capitalism is a bad thing? Because it's just not. Like, bro, it's just not.
Notice with these Luddites, just like the original Luddites were a left-wing movement of a sort, these modern AI Luddites tend to have a more kind of left-wing bent in their thinking. We'll get to you later, Vosh. Oh, we're saving
gosh.
you for the end,
That's
Vosh.
gonna be
But to be more
obnoxious.
granular with it
Thank
in
you.
this specific instance, it's because large language models need a lot of data to become more conversational, more accurate, theoretically.
I like how he says theoretically, like this is an unproven thing. It seems like he's doing the old Luddite trick of accusing people of adulteration, or a step lower than the high crime of adulteration, just flooding the market with cheap, inferior goods. This is another common pattern you'll see with these modern AI Luddites. They do the same thing that the old Luddites did.
And every tech company in the world is in the middle of an arms race trying to get as much data in the pile as possible. So you gotta cut corners. It's gonna take too long to legally, morally, ethically license content. They have to steal it.
He compares it to an arms race, which just isn't a useful comparison in any way, but I don't have time to go into that. But again, with the moralizing, oh, the moral, the ethical implications, the stealing, I must ask again, who is being hurt by this? Who is being hurt by the free use of free available, openly available content for
I feel like I zoned out for a second there, but okay, I'm paying attention again.
educational and commercial purposes? Who is actually being harmed here?
I want you to sort of understand how I'm feeling right now. And I don't know if it's even possible for me to effectively communicate that. I don't even know how to
You can't,
effectively
because there's-
communicate
there's
it.
no
I tried
understanding
writing
if
a
you
script about this. I tried writing an outline at the very least to try and formulate my thoughts in a cohesive, coherent way. Couldn't do it.
Yeah, maybe he's
because
having
there is no
trouble
way.
explaining why he's upset because he's realizing that he doesn't actually have any real good reason to be angry.
True.
He has very shallow, surface level aesthetic complaints about the situation, but there's no actual substance to them. The situation just kind of looks bad to him, but he hasn't even really thought about why he feels that way.
This is theft. They are using
It's not.
my words, my thoughts, and my ideas without my knowledge, without any sort of credit, and without my permission.
Yeah, and that's exactly
Theft is when you have a thing and then the person takes the thing and then you don't have the thing anymore, but the other person has the thing. In this situation, you still have the thing. You always have the thing. Nothing is being stolen.
the same thing that I am doing using your video in this video that I'm making without your knowledge or consent. And in fact, I'm doing it far more explicitly and more egregiously because this AI chatbot is just watching your videos like any normal human being. And, well, maybe not like any normal human being, but it's just watching your videos and learning from them. I am actually using your videos. I'm ripping you off. I'm ripping off your
Yeah, exactly. If anything, like, the AI is fine, but like people, now people on their hand, they can do far worse with your content than any AI can.
content as fodder for my content.
Yeah,
I am
exactly.
stealing from you directly. Your
Exactly.
video is nothing but
mean, that's
just another
basically what I'm
data
doing
point
now, I
for my
guess,
pile
but
of
at the
content
same time,
fodder.
who
What are you
cares? I
going to
don't
do
think this
about
guy
it,
cares.
NerdSync? You going to slap me with a fucking subpoena? Or are you going to accept that when you put something out for free, people are going to use it?
Yeah, exactly. This dude doesn't care if I react to his video. Absolutely, 100%. Like, it would be inconsistent with everything he's saying if he cared.
It for transformational purposes. That's kind of how the information economy works these days.
I paid for my YouTube captions for all of those videos that were stolen. So not only did I put all that work and effort into the videos, then I
Bro, I don't know how clothes work sometimes. I feel like this is the kind of thing you would want an undershirt, but he's just got his, like, chest exposed. I'm like, I don't know. If I was wearing something like that, I would have another shirt under it. But I don't know. That's just me.
paid a service to
I only really wear, like, graphic t-shirts anyway, so I don't, like, know what's going on with shirts like this.
turn my videos into professional captions, uploaded those to YouTube, and those professional captions that I paid for with my own money were scraped and put into these AI bots.
So basically, he's saying that because he bought these captions, he wants to live in a world where it's much more difficult and nigh impossible to train an AI chatbot how to speak English. His solution to his problem of having to pay for closed captions is to make it impossible to create a technology that makes it so that you don't have to so that you don't have to pay for closed captions. Of course, this technology already exists. Obviously, YouTube's closed caption system is pretty flawed right now, but it used to be a lot worse. Remember 10 years ago when Rhett and Link used to make those skit videos where they would sing like pop songs, Taylor Swift songs with the YouTube AI captions as the lyrics? I don't know if YouTube was actually using AI for their auto caption software at that point, but since then it seems like they have been using it because the software has gotten a lot better over the years, to the point where it's not even really all that necessary to pay for captions. Of course, if you want to be professional about it and have accurate captions, yes, it's still a good idea. But again, it's that sort of Luddite dynamic of do you accept the newer technology that could be kind of inferior quality but a lot cheaper and more efficient, or do you do it the old-fashioned way, which produces a better quality product but is more expensive? There's a good argument for both of these things, I think.
Bro, absolutely. And in regards to AI art, man, like, so, like, your options are, if you want, like, if I want to make a thumbnail for my video, my options are, I pay an artist to, like, make the thumbnail, and that'll take who knows how long. And it'll cost who knows how much. Probably like 100. I don't know what the rates are. Or I could learn to make better thumbnails, which I don't make good ones right now. I pretty much, what I do, I go into paint. I like find try to find like a background. I kind of find like little characters that are PNG, so I can like make them transparent, put them in the little scene. I don't know, add text, and like that's my thumbnail. That's the extent of my thumbnail game. I don't make good thumbnails. I don't know how to make good thumbnails. I don't got the time or patience to make good thumbnails. Or I go to Google Gemini, which is what I've been using, and I tell it, all right, this is what I want, and then I just click send, and it gives me, and then maybe it's not great, and I try again, and then eventually it'll be like, yep, this is the one. This is the one we're using for our thumbnail. I'm usually not that picky though. I'll usually take like the first thing it spits out at me. Sometimes maybe the second. Like if the first one's like exceptionally bad, I'll try like a few more times, but otherwise, yeah. What was I talking about? Yeah, like AI. Like the options for, yeah, so it's like it's either money or like time and learning, or just tell an AI to do it. Yeah, I'm using the AI to like make my thumbnails like absolutely 100%. Like why would I not?
No matter which way you choose to do your closed captioning, you have a legitimate practice. But the point is that AI can help to create softwares like this that reduce the workload on the creator. And so the fact that he's using the argument that he put so much workload into his video as an argument against the use of his video to train AI, it just doesn't make any sense. That should be a reason for you to support the use of your video in training AI, even without your consent.
And I say that as someone who, this channel has 500,000 subscribers, and I am trying so hard and honestly failing to keep this channel afloat. And I think that's what makes me so angry about this. I made a video recently about color theory in regards to a...
Yeah, I can't relate. I do YouTube as a hobby, not as a career path. Like, I don't care if I make any money. I'm not, like, even if I get to the point where I could monetize, I probably am just not. Bro, this is my hobby. I'm not... Like, I don't know. It sounds like a lot of stress to try to build an audience. Not to mention people kind of just stress me out in general. The thought of having thousands of millions of people watching me, leaving comments, I'm like, bro, that would just stress me out so much over time. Yeah, I'm good with this being a hobby that, like, I do and nobody really engages with, and I'm fine with that.
Scooby-Doo meme. It was a very silly video, but I put a lot of effort into it, and a lot of you really liked it, and I really appreciate that. While I was editing that video,
like, bro, I have major social anxiety. I just could not, as a YouTube as a career. Like, I just could not. Like, bro, if I'm like streaming and I get like, I don't know, like 10 to like 20 viewers, I might just like end my stream, because like they're probably talking. If there's that many, they're probably talking in the chat, and it's like I'm looking at that and I'm like, bro, I got 20 people watching me. Like, there's been times where I've just like ended my stream because too many people for my comfort were watching. Like, no, I do not want. I do not want to be. What was my point again? But I don't want to be popular on YouTube. Absolutely, 100% not.
I was supposed to be on vacation. Like, literally, we were in another state, me and my wife, on vacation, and I was just stuck in the room on my laptop.
Yeah, it's my hobby.
Editing that video for the entire week of our vacation. No joke, from start to finish. Editing that video, trying to get it done, not actually spending any quality time with my wife on our vacation.
Yes, key.
Because I
don't edit. I just do like I record it on the same thing I do my streams. I do one take, and whatever it is what it is. It's probably gonna be garbage, but I don't got the time to like make it better. Like, bro, I got stuff to do, like video games or my job that I go to part time. But yeah.
Needed to finish the video because I needed the income. That's what it's been like for like the past year. So yeah, forgive me if I'm a little pissed off when I see a company just straight up stealing my work that I've made a lot of sacrifices to create.
This sob story, man. Come on. I mean, think about the original Luddites. They were happy making textiles in the old-fashioned way, but when circumstances outside of their control made it hard for them to make a living doing that, they revolted. And not only was the traditional way of doing things outmoded, but the new way had its own share of problems for the people who had to adapt to this new system. You had
adapt, people. Just adapt.
You had child labor. You had low pay. You had dangerous machines. You had a lot of dust getting into the air and getting into people's lungs, giving them pulmonary diseases and injuries sustained from repetitive motions. These were people with actual sob stories, people who were actually getting hurt by this new technology. And then I see these modern AI Luddites, and it's a guy complaining about how
Yeah, I feel like maybe these retro Luddites maybe had more of a point, but absolutely the AI Luddites have very little point at all.
How his job is hard, this great new job where he gets to make fucking...
I mean, sure, they probably still have some points, but like, not that many points. Not to the point where it should be getting this much hate, which it just doesn't deserve this much hate. Maybe a little bit of hate, but not this much hate.
YouTube videos for a living is hard because he has to edit a video while he's on vacation. Now, I don't have a problem with him complaining about how his job is hard. I don't have a problem with that at all. I only have a problem with it when it comes at the expense of AI, when somehow it's fucking AI's fault that he gets having this issue, and AI has nothing to do with it.
Exactly.
Somehow, in some unspecified way, AI is the thing that's making him suffer because he has to edit a video on vacation. It doesn't make any sense. If this...
We need to stop using AI as scapegoat, I guess. The moral of the story here.
AI never existed and his videos were never used in this capacity, his life would not be any different than it is. Another very popular YouTuber, Drew Gooden, made a video about this subject, and here we get to the real spice of this video, because a lot of people, for some reason, have really strong opinions about art. Anthony Fantano and
this guy, Anthony Fantano, he was cool. I don't know. I feel like he does have some pretty bad opinions sometimes, though.
Gabby Bell also made videos about this subject, and all three of these videos, they're actually not that bad, and the people in them make good points for most of the video. I would say the majority of the content in these videos is fine, but there's just a few things that I take issue with. I'm a nihilist, so I usually refrain from having strong opinions about things, and so it's kind of amusing to me to watch the strange and bizarre hills that people choose to die on. Just the randomness of it, like, I choose to die on the hill of art. Like, okay. And art is just one of these topics that I think people take way too fucking seriously. So with the introduction of AI art, of course, we have all these people throwing a huge fit over it, and I just don't see what's the big deal.
When people ask what the point of any of this is, the dorks who defend it all tend to say the same thing. These are just tools to help anyone create art. Yeah, I want to push back on that a little bit. I am wholeheartedly for the increased accessibility of creative tools that help you take matters into your own hands. You want to make a short film? The camera on your cell phone is better than 90% of the cameras in human history. Want to learn how to edit? There's thousands of free YouTube videos that'll show you how. You want to make music? You can buy a professional audio interface, workspace, and a handful of plugins made by some of the most talented artists in the world for less money than it would cost to rent a recording studio for one day. And all of that is fucking...
Realistically, I don't use AI. I use AI art, and that's like it. Because, like, I don't use chatbots. Like, bro. I've tried using chatbots, and I just find it boring. Like, part of me just is like, the entire time I'm talking to it, I'm like, bro, this is an AI. Like, what am I doing? What am I, like... like, why am I talking to this, like, thing? Like, I don't know, man. Talking to bots, the AI bots is, like, kind of just boring to me. Like, I don't get the kind of hype around the chat bots, but AI art, yeah, absolutely, I get the AI art. AI art, AI video, like, video creation, like, I've seen some, like, absolutely banger videos come out of, like, you know, that kind of technology, like Skybrowse, like, everything Skybrowse, he's doing, like, these AI, was it, like, music videos? And, like, every single one is, like, incredible. I mean, it's all kind of revolving around songs related to stuff and, like, politics and YouTube drama. So, like, if you're not actively following that drama or politics, you might not get, like, half the references in those videos. But if you do get them, it's like, it's a fun watch.
Awesome. I feel so lucky to live at a time where you can essentially make whatever you want without having to cross the insurmountable barriers that people did in the past. You don't need anyone's permission. You don't need an exorbitant amount of money. You can just make stuff and put it on the internet. And with
But you ever just look at someone's, like, face and you're like, there's something wrong here. Like, his, looking at, I feel like his eyes are, like, too far to, like, the one side. You know what I mean? They're kind of like looking at him. They're far to the left, it looks like. Bro, people just got weird faces sometimes. Like, I feel like his one eye is way too close to his nose. His other eye is, like, way too far away from his nose. People just be looking weird sometimes. Like, whoa. What is going on with his teeth? Like, that front tooth? Is that like one tooth? That looks massive. Bro, people be looking weird sometimes.
a little bit of luck, people see it. And there's so many tools along the way that help you streamline the process of getting from an idea to a finished product. But at a certain point, if the tool is just doing everything for you, you are not an artist. You just described what you wanted to make and asked a computer to make it for you.
There's this very egotistical idea I see in a lot of these AI Luddite videos where people have this idea that AI art is bad because it removes the human element from creation. Never mind the fact that it actually does take a certain amount of skill and knowledge to craft.
Like, I'm not very attractive myself, but my gosh, dude, like, some people just look really weird, I swear.
Prompts that will generate a good result in these softwares, and that skill and knowledge could therefore be considered a craft or an art of its own. Even if we ignore that fact, it's still illogical to say that AI art lacks utility just because the people making it are not real artists, whatever that means. As if the purpose of art is nothing more than to represent the ego of the artist. I am not one of these death of the author types, and I'm also very against this idea that people pass around of separating the art from the artist. I think it's actually very valuable to understand art in the context of who made it and what he was trying to communicate with it. And I think when people say separate the art from the artist, they're making the mistake of assuming that we have to love every aspect of an artist in order to appreciate his work in tandem with his own ego. And I think that it can be very rewarding to understand art from the perspective of the artist and to try to understand what was being communicated with it, with the whole history of the artist's career and everything. I mean, there's a reason I have a whole series of videos on my channel, a couple series, analyzing the work of Marilyn Manson. A lot of what's cool about art is that people are expressing themselves, and I would argue that people who use AI generative software to do that are still doing that. They're still expressing themselves.
True.
It's just in a different way. But even if we ignore that aspect of it, it's still stupid to say that art has no utility if we divorce it from the artist. I might be able to appreciate a painting more if I know who created it.
Bro's cooking right now.
And what the history of it was. But if I don't know anything about that, if I don't know who made it, or even if it was a human who made it, it doesn't really matter because I can still appreciate it for its aesthetic quality.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. Made by person, made by AI. you can still appreciate art if it looks good.
You're also not learning anything this way. Part of what makes art special is that it's difficult to make, even with all the tools right in front of you. It takes practice, it takes skill, and every time you do it,
Bro, I don't care. I got video games to play. I don't have time to like sit down with a paper and pencil and practice art. Like what? I got like bro, like I'm planning on playing Resident Evil Requiem after this. Like I don't got time to learn this stuff. I got video games to play. I got a job to go to sometimes, part-time.
Expand on that skill. Every song you hear, every movie you watch is the result of thousands of hours of trial and error.
Yeah, lots of people go and make a lot of stuff, yeah, That's why I sit through the credits on movies, by the way. Like, before Marvel started popularizing putting scenes at the end of credits, I used to always sit through the end of all the credits, because I wanted to, like, for me, it was always kind of like a show of appreciation for like all the hard work that the people put into like creating the thing I just watched. Like, yeah, no, I definitely appreciate people for all their hard work. Yeah, 100%. But I also appreciate AI for like when it just makes absolutely banger content that like, I don't know.
You can fail 1,000,000 times and use that experience to finally succeed. Making a video using generative AI does not teach you anything about making video.
Actually, it does. It teaches you about making AI-generated video, which is, in fact, a skill. Drew talks like someone who has never used AI generation before, but as someone who has, I can tell you...
That's also why I haven't touched the video AIs yet, because I don't think I'd be like good enough to like make something even resembling worthwhile. I don't think my prompts are the best. Like, yeah.
That there is a process to it. There is a lot of...
Plus, I know for a fact there's a lot more than just prompts that goes into AI videos. Like, there's definitely a degree of editing required. Because it gives you, like, short clips. If you want, like, a full-on video, you gotta, like, generate all the clips. You gotta, like, put them in, like, together in a way that, like, makes sense. And, like, I don't, maybe you gotta, like, do some minor edits or whatever. I don't know. This is, like, it's a lot more work. And that's why I have not touched the video side of AI. I've only really dabbled in the, you know, art that's, like, still images. PNGs, as you will.
Of trial and error. And there is...
JPEGs, I think, actually, technically.
A lot of skill and knowledge that you accumulate in trying to craft prompts. There's a lot of learning that goes into it if you actually want to get good at it and make good work. If all you want to make is slop, then sure, you don't have to work very hard. But if you actually want your stuff to look good, you kind of do have to put effort into it. But just because this is a different type of learning, Drew doesn't view this as a legitimate form of learning or a legitimate craft. Only
on the subject of learning, I feel like I learned more from like watching YouTube videos than I learned from my like entire time going to school. Like, bro, I've learned so much from just watching YouTube, and I'm not even necessarily going on my way to watch educational videos. This is just like videos that I wanted to watch for entertainment purposes, and I'm like learning more from like those videos than I have from like the entirety of going to school back in the day.
Traditional crafts are legitimate in Drew Gooden's mind.
I think what these tech people will never understand is that finally figuring something...
Like, the education system is kind of garbo. Like, I had to, like, I have dyslexia. I had to go to, like, tutoring. Like, private tutoring. With somebody outside of the education, like, public education school system to, like, learn to read. Because, like, the teachers were too garbo to, like, teach me how to read.
Out that you've been obsessing over, turning a blank Word document into multiple pages of something you're proud of is the fun part. That's what's rewarding about making stuff, is figuring it out on your own or with a group of people and getting to share in that feeling. Can AI tools help you figure out things faster? Sure, but it's not going to feel as rewarding.
It's so absurdly short-sighted that Drew thinks that tech people, as he calls them, who create these AI softwares don't understand the joy of creating. People whose job it is to create software that can do incredible things don't understand the joy of the creative process. They don't understand.
But let me tell you, I get joy when I get like I'm like I get like the perfect like result. Like I have gotten some incredible results. Let me tell you, there's joy there. There's absolutely joy there when you get a good result from these AIs. 100%.
What it means to put hard work into making something. Dare I say, this dismissiveness on Drew's part is actually kind of a little bit offensive to people who actually do put hard work into making AI. And it shows a real disconnect between AI Luddism and truth and the way people actually think. I think there's this stereotype that tech people are all these Patrick Bateman psychopaths just because the top CEOs happen to be. And that's just not how it is. And he's dismissing the valuable contribution that these people are bringing to human creativity.
Call me stubborn, but I would rather make something shitty on my own than watch a computer make something good.
As someone with a lot of experience making shitty things on my own and also making some pretty impressive things with AI, I think this is pretty hilarious. When you make something on your own that's shitty, yeah, it's a learning process. It teaches you a lot. It is worthwhile, but it's never rewarding to make something shitty. I don't know. I feel jealous of other people who say they feel rewarded after making something and then being like, this is complete dog shit. Like, if you can feel rewarded after that, I fucking envy you, because I've done it many times and I've never felt rewarded from that. What I have felt rewarded from is creating a generative AI prompt that spits out something that actually looks pretty decent, because it's all about the investment of time versus the quality of product that you're getting. If the quality is not perfect, but it's pretty good and you only had to spend seconds making it, that can be a pretty fulfilling experience. That can be a pretty fun experience. Of course, it's not going to be as rewarding in the long run as learning the skill of making videos by hand the way I'm doing right now. Getting really good at that.
I get tired of stuff way too easy. But like, bro, I have a big problem just like finishing games sometimes. Like, you think I'm gonna like see it through and like finish learning how to like draw good? Like, no. I can't even finish like a JRPG like 9 times out of 10. I'm not gonna learn how to draw. I just know I'm gonna like get bored with it and give up like before I even approach getting good.
That is far more rewarding in the long run because it takes more effort over more time. AI makes
like, I'm just gonna get distracted by like the shiny new video game that just came out, and I'm gonna forget about drawing, and I'm just never again. I'm just gonna be playing this game that just came out.
It's a lot of mistakes. It tends to be very flawed, but at the end of the day, it's still just a really fun toy to play with. It opens up so many possibilities for you to create things from your imagination that you wouldn't otherwise have been able to make. And that itself is very rewarding.
Like, I feel like you're just gatekeeping when you're like shit talking the AI art stuff. Like someone like me is never going to be able to like pay for art, pay for someone to like make art for me, you know, or make my own art. Like, AI art's kind of like the only thing as someone in like my position can do, and it's really cool. I mean, it works really well, and it's only getting better as time goes on.
Even though it's not something that you invest a lot of yourself into, it can still be really fun. It's not going to have the same kind of deep meaning to you as something.
Like, bro, I just sometimes sit down and create like images on AI just for fun. Like, I just hop on Google Gemini. I'm like, all right, give me like the DK rap, but like with ferrets or something. I don't know. You know?
Thing like my YouTube channel has to me, but it's still just fun and great in its own right. You can have both things. You can have long-term skills that you learn and acquire over.
By which I mean like kind of like the iconic kind of like the whole gang's like kind of standing there. Like, redo this but like with ferrets. That's a good couple hours of fun for sure.
Time with hard work, and you can have cheap, easy, generative work that you do that just surprises you for how good it is, for how little time you spent on it. There's
Absolutely.
a unique joy of discovery with AI generation. Typing in a prompt and waiting for it to render is like waiting for a Christmas gift. It's like something that was just in your imagination, and then suddenly it's there, and you get to see how this generative software interpreted what you said, and how maybe it matches up very well to what you thought in your imagination, or maybe it's something different and it provides you with a whole new kind of idea that you never thought of before. To see something this cool and interesting just dismissed as garbage by these people,
I don't know if AI's still good at it, but like some of the AIs I was using like a couple years ago or something like that. Like, bro, what is with AI just making like perfect like horror themed content? Like, I forget what the one I was using, but like, I don't know. You throw all kinds of prompts at it, be like, yeah, whatever. But you try to like make something horror, like, bro, be putting out like the scariest thing you've ever seen, like. What is with AI just like absolutely crushing it with like making horror images? Like it just makes the most terrifying stuff you've ever seen.
It's just so frustrating because it's like there's no point in doing this. You don't need to be
like you practically be jump scaring yourself with like the results you get from like horror prompts.
So needlessly pessimistic about AI, and yet these people for some reason have this idea in their heads that this is what they need to do.
AI art has become so much of a problem that there are now AI art detectors online. And I'm sorry for referring to it as AI art. I don't want to, as art is literally the expression of human creative skill and imagination.
And using AI software to generate something that you're interested in seeing is not an expression of the human imagination. Fine-tuning a prompt to get exactly the kind of result that you're imagining in your head is not an expression of human imagination. The truth is, the word art doesn't actually have a strict definition. It's a pretty vague...
Like, bro, the like... a large part of it is the prompt. Like, if your prompt's, like, not good, you're kind of just gonna get whatever it gives you, but, like, if you can craft, like, an incredible prompt, like, you can get incredible results. And get, like, more or less exactly what you're looking for. Whereas if you're not good, you're kind of, like, more vague, and it's just like, all right, I'll fill in the blanks with, guessing what you want. And then, like, maybe it gives you something good.
In loose term that's been used over the years to describe many different things. But the common denominator, the thing that this word has proven useful for describing over time, has basically been any kind of craft or skill that you can acquire. Something that you can learn how to do. The art of painting, the art of mopping a floor, the Zen art of tea making, the servile arts, the liberal arts, ars gratia artis.
What's up now, bitches?
Art can be pretty much anything, which is why it's always stupid, I think, when people try to artificially limit what constitutes art. Like, video games are not art, or modern art is not real art. Like, it's just a word. Who cares? There is no reason to be a stickler over whether AI art constitutes real art. It's art. It's stuff that people make. Get over it. And also, I think this definition would be greatly called into question if we found out that chimpanzees or elephants were making their own aesthetic creations, or if we found some alien civilization on a far-off planet that was making their own art. And actually, we already have an example of this. There are certain species of birds that like shiny objects because they think they're pretty. And so they build nests out of these shiny objects and arrange them in such ways as to make them look aesthetically pleasing because they like the look of them and they want to attract other birds who also think that shiny objects are pretty. Is a shiny bird's nest not art? It fills an aesthetic purpose as well as a practical purpose. Is it not art just because it's not a human who created it? It doesn't make any sense. This definition is too restrictive to actually be useful.
Some people will say in argument to that, well, you can't copyright a style. And while that's true, a lot of the generated works in the style...
That's not to mention, like, basically all artists just copied some other artist style. Like, is there any, like, truly original art style that somebody created themselves and they didn't kind of just take from someone else? That's just kind of like how art goes in general, and that's what AI is doing. So like, what are we complaining about here? It's all the same, dude.
Of are very, very obviously based off of one person's specific style, regardless if it generates something
like
new that we haven't seen before. Regardless if you think that it's theft, it is definitely unequivocally questionable and unethical at best.
Why?
Show me your
if I
original
paint
art
a
style that
picture
you didn't
with the
copy from
intention of
anyone
making
else.
it look like a Picasso painting, is that unethical? No. Well, then why is it wrong to have AI do it? Perhaps she thinks it's wrong because it's taking commissions that could have gone to real artists and instead copying their...
Bro, artists are not getting their commissions taken away from, like, the people making the AI art are probably people who are never gonna, like, pay for an artist to begin with, or don't even, like, have the money to pay for an artist to begin with. Like, the people who want to commission art are still gonna commission art. The people who, like, don't, like, want to commission art or don't have the money to commission art are just gonna use AI. Like, there's like, bro, chill.
style so that they can basically rip them off without having to pay for it. And while I can see where people are coming from with this, I don't agree with her conclusion. It's kind of the same problem I talked about with Albion Mills. I mean, ignoring the fact that the price of bread actually increased. I don't know why that happened. But ignoring that, if we just take the issue theoretically and look at what happens when you make something cheaper, you get two consequences. One consequence is you outmode traditional forms of production, making it more difficult for artists to create a living doing what they used to do, thus hurting one particular interest group in the population. The other consequence is it makes those goods much less expensive and more...
Plus, specialized artists are never going to get replaced by AI. Like, you're not going to get, like, an AI creating, like, a VTuber model, rigging it up and all that shit. Like, those artists are always going to get work and not be replaced by AI. Like, yeah.
Plentiful for people to buy who need them. At the end of the day, in these situations, I think the needs of the many kind of outweigh the needs of the few. I think making flour more efficient...
Like, if you're just making static images, sure, like, the AI might encroach a little bit on your terrain, but, like, you're doing more specialized stuff, like, you know, VTuber models and all that, then you don't got, like, anything to worry about.
Thus reducing the cost of making it, thus reducing the cost of bread, theoretically. Didn't actually happen, but theoretically, it would be better than trying to artificially cling on to outmoded and less efficient forms of production. It would be better for everyone to have cheaper bread than for a few people to have the ability to make a living making flour the way they used to. And I know it sounds a little bit conservative talking about supply side economics in this way, but I do think that general principle of supply side does make sense. That doesn't mean I agree with every way they go about implementing this principle in reality. At the end of the day, I think it's very silly and pointless to tell people not to use something that's going to make their lives more convenient and more interesting just because you want their money. That's just a losing proposition. It kind of reminds me of the part in Avatar: The Last Airbender when Uncle Iroh gets the offer to own his own tea shop in Ba Sing Se, and the guy he's working for is like, "No, wait, don't leave. I'll promote you to vice assistant general manager." It's like, no, dude, that ship has sailed. We don't need you anymore. You know, if we can make art without you, then we don't need you to make art for us, and thus we don't need to pay you exorbitant rates to get something we could do for free. It just doesn't make economic sense. But that, I think, is where personal discretion comes in. If you are comfortable using inferior quality adulterated goods, then go right ahead, but just be aware that other people will judge you for it. I see AI pictures used all the time, and they tend to be really shitty because a lot of AI software isn't good in the first place. The only
like
image generation software I've ever used is Midjourney, and I think that's the best one because it makes it prioritizes aesthetics over most things. But I see a lot of these AI generated images on the internet, and they're terrible. And I judge people for using them. I think less of people for using these poor quality images, and I think that they should shell out the fucking money and invest in something that's a suitable quality that I'm not gonna be embarrassed looking at it. But again, that's up for personal discretion, and as this software continues to improve, the standard of quality will continue to improve, and as things will continue to democratize, and the need for real artists will kind of diminish in a commercial sense. That doesn't mean that it will diminish in the sense of finding fulfillment out of appreciating someone's art. That's a totally different thing. But that's just change. That's just, you know, how society might evolve in the future. I don't think there's anything wrong with that necessarily. It just might affect a certain interest group poorly, and that tends to happen. Anything that benefits some people is going to come at the expense of other people, and that's a fundamental aspect of life that people just need to learn how to accept. Like, I remember there's a bunch of dipshits on the right who were complaining when Joe Biden pulled out of Afghanistan because, like, oh, things weren't perfect and people got hurt. And it's like, who fucking cares, man? Like, you gotta break a few eggs sometimes. It's just the endless whining over the minutia when people are...
Oh, man, that seems a little bit different if people are getting hurt. Like, that's something to be like, ooh, that's not good. But, like, with AI, nobody's getting hurt. But, like, people, like, physically getting hurt, that's an issue.
Failing to look at the bigger picture. It's totally cool and totally important to raise these social issues, but then to kind of demonize the cool new thing that's coming out just because it's raising these issues is not the way to go about doing it. Have compassion for everybody. Don't just have like selective compassion for the interest group that you happen to care about. And have a sense of perspective. The needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few. But Anthony Fantano also made a similar point in his video.
And I feel like at the end of the day, this is just like a straw man that is ignoring the substance of a lot of the comments on Instagram and are just treating those taking issue with it as like Luddites who just can't accept the future, man. They can't even conceive of what we're showing them. They can't even like handle it. That's kind of bullshit. So yeah, annoying and disappointing on the part of the Voids and Julian Casablancas. But yeah, ultimately, when you can, do not use computer technology to rip off the work of other artists. That would be great.
And again, I don't really see the problem with ripping off other people's styles. There's a fine line between inspiration and ripoff that's not set in stone, and I always tend to be way more sympathetic to the ripoff artists than other people, because I don't really hold intellectual property to the level of esteem and protectiveness that other people hold it to. Like, people sometimes ask me, can I make a clip of your video and put it on my channel? Or can I use you in the thumbnail of my video? Can I use something that you made for blah, blah?
Okay, here's where we get the definitive answer on, like, if I'm allowed to do a reaction video.
Blah.
What's his take?
And I'm always just like, yes, just do whatever you want. I don't care.
Exactly, he doesn't care. Exactly. Of course.
I don't even care if you want to upload whole videos I've made and put them on.
Okay, yep, we're uploading this 100%. Thanks for the permission in your video.
On your channel and monetize them.
I'm not even monetizing. I'm probably getting like 10 views, so we're all good here.
I don't even care. I don't care if you want to plagiarize a whole video I made and act like you wrote it, because at the end of the day, I'm just not...
We're not going that far. We're actually like commentating on it, so...
interested in this whole ego game that people have built up around themselves as these important creative people. That's one of the reasons why I love folk music so much. Folk music is such a great philosophy that I love, because So many of the songs in the folk tradition, we have no idea who wrote them, and we don't care. They've been remixed and reinterpreted so many times that many of them don't even represent the original song that the original person wrote back in the 1800s or whenever. And sometimes you'll see like two songs that have like very similar lyrics but totally different melodies, or you'll have songs with the same melody but totally different lyrics, and you'll see, wow, people have.
I do not know enough about this subject to even know what he's talking about. Like, bro, if we were just talking about regular music, I wouldn't know what he's talking about, but we're talking about folk music. Like, I absolutely do not know anything about folk music. I don't know anything about music in general, because I don't really listen to music, because it's like, bro, I got things to do. I can't be sitting here listening to music. I got video games to play. I got a part-time job to go to sometimes. Like, I don't know. I guess people listen to music at their jobs or whatever. Like, I do custodian work. Like, I could listen to music, but I don't. I just listen to YouTube videos. That's all I listen to is YouTube videos. Preferably ones that are like an hour or 2 hour long, because I want it to last the entire job and not have to constantly try to find another video to listen to, because that just wastes time. I found a lot of success in finding long videos like that by diving into the like UFO and alien conspiracy theories. Like, people be putting out like really long videos on that subject. Like like one channel I'm watching, like Area 52, those videos are like always at least an hour, more often than not probably 2 hours, probably even sometimes 3 hours. Like, that will 100% get me through my part-time job, and I'll never have to like put on another video the entire time. What was my point? What was I talking about? Oh yeah, I don't like music. Music is lame. Well, it's not lame, but like, I like my thing with music is like, there's music in video games, there's music in movies, there's music in the backgrounds of like YouTube videos. Like, music is just music. Like, you could be doing something else in addition to listening to music. You could be watching a movie where the music's playing in the background. You could be playing a video game where music is playing in the background. You could be watching a YouTube video where music is playing in the background. Like, bro, like, we need to layer this. Not, like, just music. Like, you're not doing enough there. You're just listening to music. Like, what are you getting out of it? You're not watching a movie. You're not watching a YouTube video. You're not playing a video game. You're just listening to music. Like, I don't get just listening to music. Like, for me, it's not enough. Like, if I'm just listening to music, I feel like I'm not doing enough with my like time and what I'm doing for entertainment. It's not enough entertainment value for me. Like, I don't know. Music, if you're just listening to music, to me, it almost feels like a waste of time. Like, I'd rather be listening to this music while also watching a YouTube video or also playing a video game. Like, like, you're doing more than just listening to music. Like, it's kind of insane. I just don't understand music. I don't get people who just listen to music. Like, what are you doing? You could be doing so much more in addition to listening to music.
Been so creative over time, remixing and reinterpreting each other's ideas. And imagine how much worse off we would be in the folk tradition if people had this big fucking stick up their ass about who was the original creator of what and who owned the intellectual property of.
Did the video just get muted? I think I did see a comment in the... I think he posted a comment saying there was a part that got muted because of copyright or some shit. Alright, I guess this is that part. Unless if I accident. No, I didn't mute it. Okay, this is just the muted part. Looking at a bridge. What's going on? I don't know. Were we talking about music? Is he talking about music? Why were... what's going on? It must be music. Music is the only thing that ever gets muted. Because people are weird. Like, people...
sometime before Kokomo Arnold.
People be putting too much value on music. I feel like, bro, music is noise, is sound waves. We need to stop acting like sound waves are this, like, precious thing that needs to be, like, protected. Like, bro, it is, like, the least precious thing that needs to be protected is probably music. Like, Like I'm someone who doesn't really like. I'm not very like pro piracy. Like, right? Like, I don't pirate video games. I don't pirate movies. But like, if I'm gonna pirate anything, it's gonna be music. Cause like, bro, why would I pay for this? Like, it's sound waves. It's noise. Like, I'm not paying for sound waves. I'm not paying for noise. Like, I'll pay for a movie. I'll pay for a video game. But music? Like, bro, I'm not paying for that. It's sound waves. It's noise. I'm not paying for that.
In it, Mr.
It's
Carl
not that precious.
sings of dusting his broom.
Like, sure, maybe it sounds cool, but it's not that precious.
I do believe I'll dust my...
Like, I feel like music is, like, the least valuable of, like, all the art forms, in my opinion. Like, bro, like, it's sound waves, dude. Like, listen to this.
The point of all this?
Like, what am I gaining from listening to this fucking piano? Like, bro, what? Why would I pay for that? Bro tapping on a piano? Making some piano noises? I ain't paying for that. That shit should be free.
It's proof that the blues is not a definitive
When
step.
he's doing a little bit of singing? Oh, I should pay for that? No, I'm not paying for that. I'm not paying for you tapping on a piano and doing some singing. It's just noise.
One to which we know all the answers.
It's just entertainment for my ears. I don't care about my ears. I could lose my hearing and I'd be just fine. Well, I don't know. I might care about not being able to hear YouTube videos, but you know what I mean. Like,
Bluesmen did not spend their time analyzing who wrote what. They just loved the music and played it for what it was.
like this guy talking over the music is more valuable than the music itself. I care more about this dude talking over the music than the music itself.
We express ourselves by mimicking others, and each person who mimics someone else adds his own little ingredient to that creation. He adds his own little stamp of originality onto everything he makes. For instance, I made a video
I already forgotten. What were we talking about?
A few days ago called Bimmy Converts to Islam. Now that I think about it, that video is actually kind of pertinent to this one, because not only did I use AI to generate a voice that mimicked that of James Rolfe, I also, the topic of the video was related to art.
All art is terrible and deceptive. It is made out of ignorance and expresses nothing.
Oof. Oh man. AI has come a long way. That sounds rough.
Except
I've heard better.
The inadequacies of the creator, be it movies, music, video games, and traditional visual arts like painting and sculpture.
But the reason I bring it up is because every element that went into me creating this video was taken from someone else.
I don't even know if that's a good video. I don't know if we need to be bragging about that video. That was kind of lame.
All of the clips and images I used were, except for the jihad flag, were taken from James Rolfe. The samples that I used to train the AI software were taken from James Rolfe. The song I used in the background, I didn't create that. That's a song called Salel Sawarim that was created by some Arabic guy somewhere. I don't even know his name and I don't care. And the text I used, the script I used to write this video, I didn't even write that. I took that from some post on Cinemassacre Truth subreddit, some post made by some guy. I don't know his name and I don't care. I didn't ask for permission and I don't want to ask for permission. And then I adapted it. I added my own little touches to the script, and then I used my own creativity to edit this thing together, choosing the music and what clips I would put over it and how I would arrange the whole thing into a nice little presentation that I thought was funny. I think that's a really cool, really fun way to take inspiration from other people's work. And did I ask for permission from the creator? No, because fuck the creator. Creativity, at the end of the day, should not be about the ego of the creator. It should just be about having fun. And that's why I think copyright laws are ridiculously overextended. I think it should go back to the way it was in the old days, when Jane Austen could publish a novel, get the exclusive copyright over it for 20 years, and then it's done. It's public domain. I do think it's important to have intellectual property, because I think that encourages people to put the amount of effort and time and resources needed into making creative work that requires such effort and time and resources. Having the exclusive copyright over material makes it possible to do that. It incentivizes that in a way that it would be hard to incentivize otherwise. And that's the same logic behind the patent that Queen Elizabeth refused to grant to William Lee. Exclusivity creates incentive, but I think that's where the utility of IP ends. I don't think it's necessary to treat intellectual property like it's some sacred thing that represents the ego of the creator. And finally, I know you've all been waiting for it. Let's talk about Vosh.
Is fascist?
I feel like I'm still thinking about music. I feel like the only music that I like, I mean, when I get to ask the question, what music do I like? I always struggle. Sometimes I'll say Beatles because that's what my mom listened to, so I'd hear it a lot in the house back in the day. And I do like Beatles. It was fun listening to the music she'd put on, but whatever. That's kind of like my safe answer. Sometimes I want to be a little more adventurous because I do like the genre. What is it, like electro swing, where it's kind of like this retro kind of old timey music. It's a little bit more like modern-y, and it sounds cool. I do like that. I don't really listen to it because, again, I'd rather play a video game with music in the background, watch a movie with music in the background, listen to a YouTube video with music in the background. I'm not going out of my way to only listen to music, but I do like that music. And then whenever it shows up in like a video game, a movie, a YouTube video, I'm like, oh yeah, I love this music. This is great. Fun music. Good times. But I think my favorite music, if I had to really think about it, I'm kind of reminded of how much I like this type of music. Now I've been playing like Mugenics. It's just music that like can make you laugh. Like if music can make you laugh with funny lyrics, that's probably like the best music. Because then like, okay, well at least you're getting an emotion out of me. I'm laughing. I'm not just listening to it. I'm getting like some more entertainment value out of like funny lyrics than I am just out of like bog standard whatever lyrics that don't get any kind of emotion out of me. Like, I don't know. Funny songs are probably my favorite songs. Like, because they're the only ones that like even get any kind of reaction out of me. Like, I don't know, man. Sad songs don't make me cry. Happy songs don't make me happy. Funny songs will 100% make me laugh if they're funny. And that's like basically every song in Mujang's. The songs are pretty hilarious.
I'm okay if our great but also weak enemy is AI and tech bros. That doesn't work because fascists love generative AI. Fascism is the ideology of the dead. It's a hatred of humanity and life and art and love. And for that reason, fascists almost universally adore AI.
I've heard about this guy. I don't think I've ever actually seen him before.
Generative AI.
I've made a couple of long videos about what fascism really is, and spoiler, no, it's not about hatred of humanity and love and life and art. Believe it or not, philosophies and political ideologies tend to be a little bit more complicated than that. Human beings aren't just cartoon G.I. Joe villains. They usually have actual reasons for acting the way they do. When it comes to fascism, there actually is a pretty interesting and rich artistic tradition influenced by the Italian futurists and other modernist schools of art. Fascists might disagree with Vosh about philosophy, but that doesn't mean that they hate love and life and art. It just means they have different opinions about those things. I'm sure a fascist could say the exact same thing that Vosh just said, but spin it around to be about anarchism. The sooner we stop hyperbolically castigating each other as the enemies of society, the closer we'll get to having an actual functional harmonious society. And just what the fuck is he talking about here? Like what actual fascists have been going around praising generative AI? I would like to see an actual example of that. But the thing you gotta understand about Vosh whenever you engage with one of his videos is that he uses the terms fascist and Nazi to refer to basically anybody he disagrees with. So when he talks about fascists or Nazis in this video, he's not necessarily just talking about fascists and Nazis. He might also be talking about like conservatives, or maybe specifically the racist conservatives. It's difficult to tell often who he's talking about, because instead of using words that actually describe what he's talking about, he uses words that don't describe what he's talking about, because for some reason he thinks that makes his position more clear, when really it just doesn't. It just obfuscates things.
Which is weird, because historically they've presented themselves as like, you know, return to Roman, you know, Renaissance paintings, whatever, but they never cared about artistry. You know, they never liked the Sistine Chapel because of Michelangelo's hard work. They like the Sistine Chapel because it conveys power and God's authority. You know, they don't give a fuck about art. It could be anything. The Sistine Chapel could be AI generated and it would make no difference whatsoever to them.
And now Vosh can't even get basic white supremacism right. White supremacists don't like the Sistine Chapel just because it portrays power and God's authority or whatever bullshit he came up with. No, they like the Sistine Chapel because Michelangelo was a white man. He was a white European man who represented the pinnacle of artistic achievement in the white European tradition, which is something that white supremacists take a lot of pride in, the actual creativity and artistry of their race. So this is totally wrong. It's actually because Michelangelo was a brilliant craftsman and artist that who created things from his own imagination and made them real for other people to see.
Bro,
it's precisely because of that white supremacists love his work so much, because he represents what they want to represent white people. Like he was a brilliant, industrious, hardworking artist who made world-famous works of art. And if you watch any video by Jared Taylor, that is the message that he's gonna spam you with. So I don't know why Vosh hasn't figured this out yet. There is a reason Jared Taylor calls his show American Renaissance. I mean, this is simple stuff. This is basic white supremacism, Vosh. How do you not understand this?
AI art is perfect for fascism. It's just endlessly recycling the actual art of the past, and it doesn't need any new artists. Artists tend to be progressive, free-thinking. I'm generalizing, but like relative to the societies that produce them, generally speaking, this is true. You know, queer, difficult to predict, eccentric. None of these fit in the model of fascism. Artists are an inconvenient obstacle to fascist thinking, which is why fascists idealize art from the past, because those artists are dead and only their legacy remains to be idealized in retrospect. The production of new art is an anathema to the fascist mindset, because it would mean having to, you know, tolerate artists, which artists and fascism just tend not to mesh well. You know, you have some variety to this, like Italian futurism, I guess, or there are some like very specific sort of artistic modalities that correspond well to fascism, but they usually tend to be kind of brutalist, actually. You know, all like steel and jutting architectural features and like harsh, cold stone. You know, you get that with like the like Mussolini's you know, the CCCC building, the fascist headquarters. You have like weird stuff like that can survive, but for the most part, yeah, fascism is the death of art.
So here we have an interesting part where he says that fascists hate art, but then he softly sort of contradicts himself by saying there are exceptions, such as Italian futurism and brutalism. But because Vosh doesn't understand fascism, he doesn't actually have any explanation for how these so-called exceptions actually fit into the picture he's describing. Because the picture he's describing isn't a total fabrication, it's based in truth. It's just a stereotype that lacks complexity and fails to appreciate the reality of the situation. Fascism's relationship with art is pretty complex, but one key component of fascist thought is valuing human creativity and ingenuity. Fascism loves to bring out the industrious and intellectual potential of the nation. These are dynamic features of life that give life a sense of motion, and they prevent the nation from stagnating in an unhealthy way. they get the blood flowing. Because you have to understand, fascism was a very modern movement. It wasn't just about conservative nostalgia. It was about progressive revitalization of society. And you gotta understand how dumb it makes Vosh look when he goes on this rant about how fascism is just all about nostalgia. That's all they care about in art is looking to the past because it's something that they don't have to deal with any new creative thinkers. But then he lists as an exception to this rule Italian futurism, which if you actually look into futurism, you see that it's fundamentally opposed to nostalgia. It's fundamentally opposed to looking to the past. It's all about the future. It's all about originality. So when this little exception he just throws in there happens to completely contradict the rule that he's trying to describe, it does make this whole picture seem
we still got
kind of suspect, doesn't it? And that's just because he hasn't gone through the effort of trying to understand any of this, because it's actually pretty complicated stuff. And fascism is an ideology full of contradictions, but contradictions that kind of meld and mesh with each other in interesting ways. Because fascism isn't just about the past, it's also about the present, and it's also about the future, and it marries these three things into one cohesive whole. That's why Alfredo Rocco said that the sort of left liberal socialist tradition, the left-wing tradition of politics,
I don't think I know enough about
was
this
anti-historical, because fascism did keep one foot in the past. And in fascism, the nation is not just the people who happen to be alive right now, but also all the people who are members of the nation long in the past. The ancestors of the current national community are just as much a part of the national community to fascists as the current members. And so because fascists...
If I was still living with my parents, I'd be like, I'd probably turn to my dad to be like, kind of explain what is even being said here, because I don't know, dude.
Appreciate the past and they appreciate the accomplishments of their ancestors, and they tend to have a conformist mentality in general. This misleads some people into thinking that fascism is not progressive or it's not forward-thinking, and that's just not true. Fascism was all about being modern, progressive, and forward-thinking, and doing, as I said earlier, applying modern solutions to modern problems. It's just that they had a different kind of perspective on how to do that than a lot of the more left liberal tradition.
I love the dome in the background. Nazis and the American founding fathers were both obsessed with neoclassicism because neoclassicism is a dumb, dead architectural movement, you cowards. What if we showcase that we're the heritage of the intellectual tradition of the European by making... What if we did like the Roman Greek, like the white pillars? What is creativity? What is anything? So I do like this a lot, you know?
Wow, how enlightened and cultured of you. Just dismissing and delegitimizing a whole important, beautiful movement in art and architecture. Yeah, I can kind of see why boomers like Joe Biden and my mother think that anarchists are just all about destroying things, because it really does seem like anarchists like Vosh are very comfortable just throwing whole important art movements under the bus just because it happens to be politically convenient to them in the present day with their anti-historical thinking.
Considering, like, the Nazis existed from the 20s to the 40s, basically, but if the Nazis were around today, which they are, right, they're just not called the Nazis, but we know what, like, far-right governance looks like, they would be very pro-car. So say hello to your gigantic interurban freeways, say hello to, like, 6-lane stroads cutting through everything. Fascism is all about alienation and isolation, so the idea of, like, densely packed residential areas, that's gone.
Again, just not understanding anything about fascism. Wow, maybe I should be an anarchist, because it seems like if Vosh is a good representative of anarchism, then all you need to do to be an anarchist is just ignore all facts and reality and just live in your own fucking world. That's easy. I could do that. Anybody could do that. Like, Vosh's job is one of the easiest jobs in the world. And honestly, I could say the same thing about fascism too, because it too has a very warped perspective on life. But At least I've gone through the effort to understand that perspective before I talk about it. Because this whole idea that fascism is all about alienation and isolation is not true. In fact, it's the exact opposite of the truth. Fascism is the exact opposite of that. A key component of fascist
new subject, please.
Thought is the idea of corporatism, which was essentially about uniting different disparate sectors of society together into one cohesive whole so that they can work together for a common purpose. National unity and the idea of community was essential to fascist thought. And through the corporate system, the fascists endeavored to end the phenomenon of alienation that Marx wrote about back in his day. After all, fascism is a revision of Marxism, and that's one of the things that they maintained from Marxism was this certain skepticism of private capital and a desire to socialize the economy. Now, they had a different way of going about that than the socialists, and they were a little bit, in praxis, they were a little bit loosey-goosey and inconsistent with how they implemented these ideas, but the philosophy was always there. There's a reason they called themselves National Socialists, and it's not just because they were LARPing.
The only real shift here is there's no way these trees would have survived. They would have done something stupid with this area too. They would have cleared it and made it like plain grass or something.
Yeah, because we all know Nazis hated trees. And then he goes on to show a bunch of pictures of Nazi architecture, and he criticizes them for being boring. And yeah, I'll admit that these are pretty fucking lame. I guess they're supposed to look modern and austere, but they just lack any personality or character. And I tend to like more kind of brutal looking architecture, and by the way, so does Vosh. Yeah, this stuff just doesn't have any character to it, so fair enough point on Vosh's part here. Nazi architecture tended to not be great. But I think we've gotten a bit off track here, because, I mean, wasn't this supposed to be about AI art?
How does your hatred of generative AI compare to the fascist hatred of art? They're the same.
I just realized as I'm editing this that Vosh was so on his soapbox that he didn't even read that person's comment correctly. That person was asking if his hatred of AI was the same as Hitler's hatred of degenerate art, and his response is, they're the same. Oh boy.
They're one and the same. The people who push generative AI the most maliciously are fascists, or at the very least have a fascist attitude towards art. They hate art, and they think of artists as unnecessary because they hate life and they hate the soul.
You don't even believe in the soul. You're an atheist. So yeah, if you're interested in AI art, if you're someone who's, I don't know, maybe
I used to be an atheist, but, you know, then I, like, evolved and converted to Christianity. The clearly, objectively, like, just correct, position. Because, I mean, like, my gosh. Like, you start, so you just start looking at, like, who else is an atheist, right? And they're, like, some of the craziest people. Like, I'm like, do I want to relate? Do I want to, like, be in the same box as these people? And I'm, like, looking at the Christians, and I'm like, and then you got, like, that are, like, probably the most based, agreeable, like, common sense, like, yeah, I take these people's side, like, 9 times out of 10. Why am I not a Christian myself? So I was like, all right, man, I gotta just convert, because, like, I'm not vibing with the atheists. I'm vibing way more with the Christians.
Like Doug Walker, who uses AI art as therapy to cope with his pain from shingles.
Bro's got some cool art in the background there. Look at that, like, what's that, like, Spider Gwen? Bro, some cool art back there. I wish I could see it better. I can only really see the one that looks like Spider Gwen, sort of. But that one looks cool.
Then, yeah, according to Vosh, you are a fascist who hates life, hates love, hates art, and hates humanity. This is unhinged behavior.
I think that if the Nazis had access to the technology, the Nazi architects and Nazi officials would have been obsessed with AI. Absolutely obsessed. They would have painted it as like a pure, austere, Aryan creation that perfectly reflected rational reality, something they represented. And they would have AI generated a bunch of shit.
Weren't Nazis, like, super strict on art? Like, I'm pretty sure they were super strict on art. They had, like, very specific guidelines for how they wanted their... Because, I mean, Hitler himself was an art dude, like, right? Like, bro had his opinions on art. I don't think he would vibe with AI art, to be honest. He'd be one of the AI art haters, to be honest. 100%. Like, I do not see Hitler vibing with AI art at all. He would be like AI art's #1 hater. 100%. He would be gassing people in the chambers for creating AI art. 100%, dude. Like, what are we talking about?
And we would have gotten art that looked pretty similar, because those buildings do not look out of the, those buildings are artless. So I think that generative AI could have produced those building plans.
My ass, this looks like a perfect representation of rational reality. Look at her fingers.
Back in the day,
Vosh is just willy-nilly distorting facts and premises to support whatever conclusion is most convenient to him at a time. There's no effort to be consistent here. And it's absurd that he presumes to know what the Nazis would have thought about AI art. Like, what the fuck is he talking about?
This is the response, Vosh. Hey, Vosh, consider that generative AI, like any tool, is neutral in itself. Stupid, dumb, immediately dumb, right off the bat. This is like the tech equivalent of saying that freedom of speech is neutral because anything you say can be taken any like it's a non-defense. It's like saying, well, legally I'm allowed to say something. It's nothing. It doesn't speak to the issue.
Oh, I forgot to mention, Vosh is against freedom of speech too. You know who was also against freedom of speech? Hitler. So therefore, Vosh is a Nazi. See, I can do it too. It's very easy to call people Nazis when all you have to do is point out one superficial similarity.
Like it doesn't apply to AI anyway, since the consequence of this tech is harming artists. It's harming everyone. It's de-souling art. Like, how can anyone look at what generative AI is doing at all and think like that this is some kind of like abstract moral question? It's very, very, very obvious that there is a net utilitarian harm. But it's an abstract. It's not like one potato, two potato, I get a carrot, you get a broken leg, empirical exchange of resources or whatever. It's a big abstract question.
This is another very Hitlerian tactic. People like Hitler and the Nazi Party believed that they had the right to determine what was helpful and harmful to the nation. So victimless crimes and entertainments that people enjoyed were labeled degenerate because they happened to be offensive to certain people. I don't really see much of a difference between Hitler calling certain art degenerate and Vosh calling certain art de-souling. It's saying that because these sorts of aesthetics are offensive to some people, that they are bad for society. Now, this doesn't mean that Vosh wants to ban AI art the same way Hitler banned degenerate art, although I wouldn't be surprised if he did, but it does mean that there is an overlap in the way they think about art.
How does your hatred of generative AI compare to the fascist hatred of art? They're the same. They're one and the same.
Vosh, just like Hitler, abuses the idea of morality to attack things that he personally has an aesthetic problem with.
I just think the problem is that the people in chat who don't like what I have to say on the subject lack souls. I just think they're unsold, Maybe their mother like smoked when they were in the womb, and the sin like robbed them of their immortal soul or something.
It's not the fucking Holocaust, dude. I don't get why he's so upset about this. Did AI kill his mother or something? Like, he seems to have this weird emotional reaction to it. It's a toy, dude. It's a toy for people to make fun, cool little things. Like, what is the problem? This guy is such a hyperbolic shithead. He thinks that other people need to go out and touch grass because they haven't just indoctrinated themselves into this absurdly moronic sort of politicizing of every fucking issue, to the point where everything is the Holocaust to him, to the point where little toys that people use for their own amusement are like the fucking death of society, and they de-soul humanity. And by the way, when I made my political YouTubers tier list video and I was ranking them by how likable they were, I put Vosh in A tier, and I still hold to that. I think he's pretty likable.
I saw what's his face. What was it? What's his name? Atheism is Unstoppable. Bro, I used to watch him all the time. Incredible stuff. I wish I could keep watching him, but he's like paywalled all his content now. I used to pay for it for a time, but now I'm like turbo broke, so I don't. But yeah, no. he puts out some good stuff. Even if I'm not like, well, his name is Atheism is Unstoppable, but let's be real. Dude does not talk about atheism or Christianity like at all ever. But he puts out some great stuff. Always love watching his videos. Back in the day when I didn't have to pay for it.
General. And I don't dislike every video he's ever made, but man, the guy is just one of the silliest fucking self-serious people I've seen in politics. And that's just the thing.
Tracy,
this is the most extreme example of it, but this is what it is with these AI Luddites. They take this stuff way too seriously. They're looking at this toy and then blaming it for society.
Weird opinions, but on the whole, I tend to agree with everything he has to say.
These problems. It's okay to have concern about the rise of misinformation due to AI. That's a very legitimate concern, but don't pick on the art. I mean, pick on it for being shitty, because a lot of it's shitty, because AI still has a lot of issues, but don't pick on the people who are making it because they're trying to have fun making good creations. So on that note, I will share with you now my attempt to make...
I remember one of his weird opinions was like, all guys should just like pee sitting down. I'm like, really? You think guys should pee sitting down? I mean, okay. I mean, that's definitely one of your weirder opinions for sure, yeah.
Make a song with AI. Enjoy, or try to enjoy. Like I said, the software is still in its early stages.
So I ask immortal questions.
This is an AI song. Close this out.
Answers you cannot possess. Get me rid of my inventions and put my stories to the test. Give me all your magic moments. I'll surrender all my dreams. I will give you all my darkness if you will give it back.
Goes on for 2 minutes.
To me, just to hold your fleeting presence.
The lyrics sound interesting though, so I'll give it a listen.
I will leave you all my cash, so immolate me.
Oh, it does say my AI generated song. Okay, yeah.
In your essence, and burn it all to piles of ash. When I first met you, I was broken, and still asunder I remain. Though not a sentence should be spoken, you acknowledge all my pain. You broke me out of my reflection, and brought me to my feet again.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm just not a music guy.
My mind will float in all directions. You blow your words into my pen. Just to hold your fleeting presence, I will leave you all my cash. So immolate me in your essence, burn it all to piles of ash.
I like music videos where I need like some kind of visual to go along with my music. Like, just listening is kind of like, whatever, dude. But, like, if it's, like, a music video, I'm like, okay, this is a little bit more going on. I can get into this. But, like, just music. Just the sound waves and the noise. I'm like, bro.
You paint me up in vivid sunlight and winds me down in gentle...
Like, just a black screen. You're not gonna even give me something, like, slightly interesting to look at?
Rain, you remind me of the fun times, and you remind me of the pain. I thought I could be something special as I lay dying in my bed. I demonstrated all my mettle to all the voices in my head. Just to hold your fleeting presence, I will leave you all my cash. So immolate me in your essence and burn it all to piles of ash. Just to hold your fleeting presence, I will leave you all my cash. So immolate me in your essence and burn it all to piles of ash. And burn it all to piles of ash.
Okay. Whatever. Cool. Anyways, that's a pretty good video. They kind of lost me for a second there in the start of the Vosh section where they were just going mega off topic, and I just could not follow what they were even trying to talk about. But overall, it was a pretty good video. Yeah, pretty good. Bro cooked with this one. All right, and the recording. Where's my mouse? And what? Nope, too far. Where's my mouse? There's my mouse and the recording.